Hi! Have you thought about judging other cultures based on their preconceptions originating in the standards and customs of one's own culture? Or have you thought that culture should be understood of its own terms and not using standards on other culture? So good day everyone, I'm Bryan Delfin. So today's video, we're gonna go deeper to those statements that I have mentioned earlier, and if you have noticed that those statements are related to ethnocentrism and relativism. So moving on, so let's talk about what is ethnocentrism. What is really ethnocentrism? Ethnocentrism is judging another culture solely by the values and standards of one's own culture. Ethnocentric individuals judge other groups relative to their own ethnic group or culture, especially when concerned for language, behavior, customs, and religion. An example of ethnocentric culture in Asian cultures is when an Asian people across throughout Asia, the way of eating is to use chopstick with every meal. These people may find it unnecessary to find that people in other societies, such as American societies, they use spoon, fork, and knives. In the study of anthropology, ethnocentric are people born into a particular culture that grow up absorbing the values of and behavior of the culture will develop a worldview that consider the culture to be the norm or standard. So moving on, let's go to the other one which we call relativism. So what is cultural relativism? It is the ability to understand a culture on its own terms and not to make judgment using the standards of one's own culture. The goal is to promote the understanding of the cultural practices that are not typically part of one's own culture. The example of cultural relativism is food choices, because people have become more tolerant of food from cultures that are not their own. Specifically, the Muslims. We all know that Muslims will never eat pork, so that's why they have this what we call halal foods. So for those who don't know what is halal foods are foods that Muslims are allowed to eat and drink under the Islamic law. It was established as accepted in anthropological reason by Franz Boas in the first few decades in 20th century.